Hello and welcome to another Lisbon Speed Talk. This morning, the Club of Lisbon gave us a challenge, Kai and me, that may seem quite simple, but is it really? Kai Linderman is the director to the German Confederation of Trade Unions. I'm the editorial director at Dinheiro Vivo, and we'll try to come to a conclusion. Money makes the world go round is the question we're starting with. And I think we can all agree that it's an unquestionable truth, but to what extent? Because the world is changing and we've seen how money really does make the world go round. We've seen the effects of globalization and how it changed the world for better, but then there's a lot of bad things as well. So Kai, does money really make the world go round still, or are we taking a step back?
The title is very simple for this topic. The special goal which I was to discuss in my book, I can show it. My book published it in last October, only in German. Sorry, is a critique on our terms of elites and ruling classes, and because sometimes we speak about an elite which have no contact to the society, and in other terms we talk about a ruling class or the bad capitalism. And I prefer a term of the Frankfurt School from Adorno and Horkheimer, from his works in the American exile. They called it a racket. It's in their American and Anglo-Saxon discussion more, yes, in the journalistic term. It's as they called it, racket, because this term racket makes a connection between the elites and their class relations. And this is a very, very nice term for our time, for our time in neoliberalism, where we see every time scandals about corruption, tax havens, oligarchs, the connections between the oligarchs, American oligarchs, Russian oligarchs, German oligarchs, something like that. And this term can catch all these phenomena in question of the political practice of the ruling class, about questions of state sovereignty, and yes. In this connection, and money, yes, money is the basic of this elites, of this rackets. It's the one of the first interests of these elites, and that's the reason that we take this title for my small piece.
But still, the world is changing, isn't it? Because we're watching how especially the youngest generations, they don't really give that much importance to money. They choose their jobs not for how much they're going to get, but for just if it can provide them with the basis for living the life they want. And that life is no longer as much as it was for us. I think a matter of owning things, of propriety. So now they're kind of just letting go of the importance of money. Could that be a game changer, or is it just a different way to look at money, but still money is the center of everything?
Yeah, money is not. It's not in the center of not only in the center of all society relationships. Yes. You are right. Many people don't want this style of consumerism, of this of this dependence in the work life. We see it in the US with with this trend to cut the job, and nobody knows what the people do now. I
Or
think
where from? Not
yes,
what they do, or where from.
yes. I guess that's a special kind of resistance in this system. Sometimes, but in the ideal type is that you have strong collectives like trade unions, like unions, to make resistance in the system. And now in the neoliberal age, the formation of resistance is more and more an individual topic. It's more and more a question: what can I do, and not the question: what can I do with a strong collective like trade unions and something like that. And yes, it's not a very a good strategy, but we see it. And that's the reason that we have now in our age, we have a elite, a very monolithic block of elites, and no connection to the groups in the society. And that's the
So
reason that
you think there's a disconnection between the elites that make the decisions and the people who benefit or are affected by those decisions? So could that actually become a reason to change, for the elites to change? Do they have that awareness that what they are doing, maybe it's no longer as useful as it used to be?
The elites have a special connection. Some with some groups in their society, I call it something like a predatory prey relationship between elites and social groups. They make the money. Protect the social groups and give some money to the groups and protect the groups. And this is a very archaic principle of state sovereignty. And this archaic principles, we see it more and more in our age. I discuss the neoliberal terms of rational choice, of principal agent models from the modern economic theory, and in this series you find these archaic moments of these relationships, and then you have groups out of these relationships. We call it the precarious working conditions. French philosophers Badiou and Luc Boltanski call it object, from Badiou, object classes, because these classes have no relationship to everything. And we see many young people who work in this in these precarious jobs first, and then they see no trade unions, no collectives,
No
where
one is representing them.
yes, representing them, and where they can engage with this interest and make something like interest intermediation in the system. And in precarious jobs, you don't have this possibilities, and the others have this this predatory relationships with the
So which one is best? Is it best to just earn your money and then just give it away for other people to decide what to do with it, or is it better to just let go of that relationship and just earn your money and just spend it where you want and save what you must. Are people ready to do that? Well, better ask. Can precarious be because precarious relationships, precarious workers are still seen as low level employees? Can they be the next high level employees because of the freedom they get from just getting to decide what to do with it, or is it the relationship with the elites still very necessary to cover where the frail moments where they can find themselves in?
The the best the best thing is to have a democracy system in
You
the
can choose.
yes, in the world of work, I call it so, in this world, where you have democratic institutions, not only in the political world, in the working world too. You can choose your working conditions. You can have a co-determination in the policies of the companies, and that's the basic to yes to have a bargaining about your loans, about the money, about your the participation of this. But in the now you see in the new companies like the Silicon Valley companies, you have a board, an elite in the company, and it's it's an archaic moment too, and you have some religious, some theological moments of power. Because everyone must look at to Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk as the new kings of this new feudalism age, and this is that's the contradiction to a model of economic democracy of yes, we call it in Germany Selbstermächtigung, self power, self to decide your special interest self in the working world, and that's the goal. That's the goal to choose your own money, to choose your own working life, and alternative cannot be that you are only an individual as a hunter for the money in the well, that's the ideal type of neoliberalism.
But still, there's a need for social background, for because you have to tend to the poor, and you have to tend to the old and the elderly, and you have to tend to the sick people. So if that democracy system works and everyone decides what they do with what they earn, how can you still have a social state by the minimum, but that addresses those problems in the society?
Oh no, you need a democratic. We have democratic institutions in that function, but we don't have we don't have this common goods, this type of wealth as we remember 30 years or 40 years ago. Um, that's that's a result of this privatization of all these common goods of health, of water supply, and all these things. And
So you don't really need the state anymore to make sure that you have those services. You just need the state to make sure that they work and they work for everybody.
yes, it's a central question. If we need a right to work, and only a right to work, not the duty of work. Oh God, the right to work. Um, it's a central question in debates in trade unions. If you need this, I'm a friend of the right to work, and when you have this right, and nobody can put you out in or have this pressure for precarious work or something like that. Um, you have a better and yes a better working life. And the other part of this is companies, democratic companies. We have in Germany this special tradition that the state don't have to make directly things in the working conditions, in the bargaining between capital and work. It's the same like the churches in Germany, and I guess that's right. That the state don't take part in the companies to say that's the right loan, that's the right conditions, because this is a part of bargaining in the company between trade unions, between the collective interests of the workers and the board. This the state makes only the institutions like a right to work. We don't have this right to work, but that's one
But how
of
can you? That is the German system, and I actually think it really works. But the Southern Europe people are much more dependent and reliant on the state, and I think they actually want the state to interfere. So how can you convince them that it would actually work better, and they would actually have a better life and better rights and an independence that they do not have today, even about their money, if they just took a little more independence on themselves and just let go of the state and just don't rely on the state and rely on closer relations like the unions, but a different kind of unions, because our unions are ancient. They're revolutionary period unions. They haven't really evolved to these days. So how can you convince us to make a change? If you had to convince me, what would you tell me?
I'm a friend of the famous Ghent system. You know the Ghent system from Belgium and in the Scandinavian states.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we think about a right to work, we need to make a monopoly of work. We have the monopoly of big companies. We have all the time the tendency to that the capital monopolize special special branches and systems, and we need on the other side to have the to have weapons, to have the conditions of resistance to the capital. We need to monopolize work. And as we have it in Scandinavia, that job agencies, the trade unions have more influence on the job agencies to make the labor market, to create the labor market, to make the loans on the labor market, and that's an issue of the state, but or a special a special moment of the state to make these conditions to monopolize work, and strange there the interests of the working people. It's my opinion.
So you need to free the money. Let the money go free.
Yes. Yeah, we have on the other side many young people discuss the things of basic income models. We call it in Germany bedingungsloses Grundeinkommen. This basic income models. Everyone
Gets a right to get something
minimum,
just by being born.
yes, a minimum loan. Everything gets a minimum loan. Yes, but it's a special kind of this debate in the neoliberal age that we discuss every time about minimum conditions, minimum taxes, minimum loan, minimum here and there, and all minimum. And we don't discuss about the maximum money from Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg. No one discuss about the maximum. In Germany, we had 50 years ago, we had a debate in the unions, in the trade unions, that the chief in a company don't have more than 1 to 20
Salaries?
income salaries than their average income of the workers in the company, 1 to 20. And now we have 1 to
100. 1 to 100.
800, I don't know. And yes, and that's instruments to make it more equal, to make more democratic in the working field.
So we have a question here. A lot of very rich people who operate globally are starting again and again that war, stating that the war in Ukraine is making them lose fortunes. So which of the elites you refer are or will be profiting from this war? Well, the arms industry, I guess. That's an obvious one.
He means oligarchs in Ukraine and Russia. Or did I understand not right?
There's a lot of people stating that they are losing fortunes. Yes, the oligarchs surely, and a lot of people that had money invested in Russia. But still also in Ukraine, because they're also suffering, and with these bans on the export of cereals and everything, and the energy crisis and everything, there's a lot of people losing money. Do you think that some people will be profiting from this war?
Yes, really. There are many.
Which kind of elites will
who profit from this yes, and we have companies in Germany who profit very many, like Rheinmetall, the tank industry, and something like that. But now, the interesting thing on this is how we sanctioning the oligarchs in Russia, in Western countries, and something like that. We know that Russian oligarchs have very, very good connections to Western elites in London or in the tax havens or something like that. I'm a friend of the proposal from Piketty. He suggests a financial register where we can sanctioning very effective 20,000 people from Russia and in the West, and then you are really on the special points of this system in Russia. That's more effective as the sanctions we do now, and it's instrument to target really the oligarchs, and not only some people of this, and other people makes business with Western elites too, and It's really
But
important
do
action.
you think that we're addressing the wrong questions? Because we look at this conflict, and there's a lot of economic sanctions. They get tougher and tougher. But the natural gas is still providing for Europe. So
Yes.
could that be a way to address the problem? Just stop using the gas? Well, not considering all the damage that would make to Europe, but still, would that be a blow to the Russian part?
We have to here in Germany. We have the discussion if we make a strictly embargo for Russian oil and Russian gas, but you know, many companies in Germany are very
Reliant.
yes reliant and depends on this gas. First, chemistry industry in Germany is a big chemistry industry. They own up to now they need this gas deliveries, but it's really complex and contradiction question. You have there the economic interest and there's the moral positions, and it's all the
There's the
time.
people, because
Yes,
if you just cut the gas, people will not be able to live in basic comfort because they won't have heating in their houses, and industries won't be able to work because they won't have the energy they need to. So there's that interdependency. Well, it's actually a money interdependency because the providers are. We've seen it in the crisis of the chips. We've seen it in the crisis of the logistics. Could that be kind of an insurance that things will not ever go as bad as they could because of this interdependency?
yes. I think so. It's a question how fast we make this transformation. We can make the transformation with renewable energies and something like that. And behind this dependence on the from the Russian oil and gas is special a special strategy of the German political elite. They call it Wandel durch Handel, changing with business. To make business relationships to Russia, and then we can change the system in Russia. But now we know the strategy fails, and it's not.
Or at least it didn't go as fast as it could have.
Yes.
So does money really make the world go round? Is it because that's a good example actually, because we tried to integrate Russia or bring Russia closer to the rest of Europe by building a relationship, an economic relationship, like basing it on money, and it actually didn't work. So
Yes.
does money really make the world go round, or is it just one factor within many other factors?
Now you must look which side is the winner of these businesses, and now we see the winner is only Russia.
Until now.
In this business relationships, and we had there many ideas and hopes in this relationship, but we see it's only and we have not only business relationships, we have oligarchic relationships with our old chancellor Gerhard Schröder, a friend of Putin, and you see there this racket, this oligarch system works. If the money works in the political the political room or something like that, in this political sphere. Yes, it's a very problematic question. It works only for the elites, for the oligarchs, or for the special interests of Russia, and not for a democratic change.
It cannot base. Well, we've seen that. Let me just address very, very fast, reaching the end of our time. The countries that we once called the third world countries. Is their problem a money problem, or is there something else going on there? Why can't they evolve? Because they have the riches, they have the people, and they just can't get into the first league.
No, it's a very good example, Joanna, because in these countries you see the special form, the special character of the money, because all the money from Africa or from other countries in Asia or Latin America, in the Americas, go to the finance places in London and New York. And that's the problem of these countries. Not that there are no money or no productive capacities or something like that. They have all the things. They have many best conditions in Africa and other countries. But the investments, the investment capital flow every time on the big financial marketplaces in London and New York. And the finance markets and the finance system, the global finance system, is a best ground for these rackets, for these elites to make the systems of predatory prey relationships and this complicity with other elites and something like that. And there goes the money, and or the money not make the world go round. The money makes only the northern world go round or the western world go round.
So just a part.
You see it in Africa. All the elites in Africa put the money in the West. No money stays there on the continent and work with investments or something like that. What they make there with money every time go in the West, and that's a really big problem. Yes.
So you have to make the money stay where it's needed, actually, in order to make it work. Okay, Kai, thank you so much for your intervention. We've come to the end of another Lisbon Speed Talk by the Club of Lisbon. Thank you all that have been with us this morning, and we'll be back someday. Thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, thank you.